I pull into my driveway, the afternoon sun warming my hands through the windshield. The satisfaction of finally securing Grover's inheritance in the Willow and Pine Trust still hums through my veins. 72 hours since I transferred the $1.2 million, 72 hours of finally breathing easier after 5 years of caregiving. Until I see the moving truck. My tires crunch over the gravel as I slam on the brakes. A burly man in coveralls carries Grover's mahogany writing desk, the one where he penned letters to my grandmother during the Korean War, down the porch steps. My mother stands in the yard, clipboard in hand, directing traffic like a runway controller. "The china cabinet goes next," she calls out, not noticing me yet. "Careful with the crystal inside." My keys slip from my fingers, clattering against the wooden porch boards. The sound echoes through the Oregon craftsman home that's been in our family for 3 generations. That's when I see him. Thatcher emerges from the front door, arms loaded with boxes containing Grover's rare book collection, first editions of Steinbeck and Hemingway, worth at least $70,000. My brother's Tesla sits nearby, trunk open, already half filled with similar boxes. "What are you doing?" My voice comes out strangled, barely recognizable. My mother turns, her surprise quickly masked by a practiced smile. "Blythe, you're early. We thought you'd be at the bank all afternoon." "The bank?" My throat constricts. I finalized everything 3 days ago. "Yes, well." She waves a document at me, her diamond tennis bracelet catching the sunlight. "This says otherwise." I snatch the paper from her manicured hand. Quitclaim deed. My name forged on the signature line, supposedly transferring ownership back to the family trust. This is a forgery. My hands shake so badly the paper rattles. Forgery is such an ugly word. Thatcher sets the box in his Tesla, patting it like a pet. More like correcting an injustice. 3 weeks ago, we'd sat around the dining table, the same table now being loaded onto the truck. Mom had raised her wine glass in a mock toast. "To Blythe," she'd said, lips curved into something not quite a smile, "who did nothing to earn $1 million inheritance but should definitely share the wealth." Everyone had laugh-a-deverone except me. The next day, Thatcher had cornered me in the kitchen. "So, how exactly does property transfer work when someone dies?" he'd asked, casual as discussing the weather. "Seems complicated with all those county records." That night, I'd contacted the county recorder's office to place a fraud watch on the property. Now my mother steps forward, blocking my path to the house. "Blythe, be reasonable. You manipulated a senile old man into changing his will. This is justice." My voice steadies even as my heart hammers. "Show me the notarization on that deed." She blinks, faltering for just a moment. "It's all legal." "Then you won't mind showing me who notarized it?" My trembling stops. I pull out my phone, muscle memory dialing the county recorder's office. "Put that away," Mom snaps, the pleasant facade cracking. Thatcher strolls over, arms swinging casually. "Come on, sis, we're just redistributing the wealth. You know Grover would have wanted the family taken care of." "The family?" I laugh, the sound bitter even to my own ears. "You mean your crypto debts and Mom's country club membership?" My mother's face hardens. "We're taking what's rightfully ours." I see it now, crystal clear. The power dynamic that's always existed, Mom expecting immediate compliance, Thatcher treating serious matters like inside jokes. They stand before me, ready to strip away not just my financial security but my grandparents' life work. 5 years I spent caring for Grover, bathing him, feeding him, reading to him when his eyes failed, holding his hand as he took his final breath. And they see it as manipulation, not love. My finger hovers over the call button. "Get off my property," I say quietly, "before I have you removed." For the first time, uncertainty flickers across my mother's face. I've made my choice. Next day, I visited the county investigator's office to see how I can protect what's mine. The forged deed sits on County Investigator Dorian Kerr's desk like a snake coiled to strike. I lean forward, my fingers trembling as I trace the notary seal. "This is a Nevada stamp," I whisper. My stomach clenches so violently I think I might be sick. Mom's never even been to Nevada. Kerr nods, his weathered face grim beneath salt and pepper hair. Counterfeit. Whoever created this didn't just act on impulse. They planned this. The realization hits like a physical blow. Not a desperate grab for heirlooms in a moment of greed, but a calculated scheme. I sink back into the chair, the room spinning slightly. Your fraud watch request triggered an immediate flag in our system. Kerr slides a folder across the desk. We were already investigating when you called yesterday. Inside lies a stack of trust paperwork bogus documents claiming to re-establish the family trust with my mother as trustee. The signature at the bottom is supposedly mine. There's more. Kerr's voice drops. The trust paperwork was created on Everlight Properties letterhead. He taps a logo in the corner. Your brother's employer. My hands go cold. Thatcher used his company resources for this? And possibly their digital signature software. Kerr doesn't soften the blow. That's corporate fraud on top of forgery. I stare at the documents, nausea giving way to a simmering rage. 5 years caring for Grover while they visited twice a year. Now this. The county recorder's office feels too bright the next morning. Fluorescent lights bounce off the polished floor as Kerr arranges evidence on the conference table. The door swings open. My mother strides in wearing cream linen pants and a cashmere sweater that probably cost more than most people's monthly grocery budget. Her tennis bracelet catches the light as she arranges herself in a chair, spine straight, chin lifted. Thatcher slouches in behind her in jeans and a graphic tee with some crypto slogan. His confidence wavers when he spots Kerr's uniform. This meeting is unnecessary, Mom announces. We're simply correcting an injustice in the family. Kerr doesn't smile. Mrs. Rowan, what we have here is forgery under Oregon Revised Statute 93.140. He lays out the fraudulent deed. This carries significant penalties. Thatcher shifts in his seat, eyes darting to the exit. Furthermore, Kerr continues, entering the property after being instructed to leave constitutes criminal trespass. That's ridiculous, Mom snaps. It's my family home. No, ma'am. It legally belongs to your daughter. Kerr turns to Thatcher. And Everlight Properties will be notified of the misuse of their corporate resources. Thatcher goes pale. You can't do that. Already did. Kerr closes the folder with a snap. Later that afternoon, the weight of what's at stake sits heavy on my shoulders as I review documentation with Kerr. The Craftsman house alone is worth $820,000 in today's market. The brokerage account holds another $310,000. If their forgery had succeeded, I would have lost everything. My phone buzzes with a text from Mom's lawyer demanding $150,000 in emotional restitution, plus joint ownership of the property. I nearly laugh at the audacity. They're not backing down, I tell Kerr, showing him the message. After they left home, I am still at his office. They rarely do at this stage. He shuffles papers back into his briefcase. The question is, are you prepared for what comes next? I stare out the window at the county courthouse across the street. What do you mean? Family lawsuits get ugly. People stop speaking for generations. His eyes, kind but direct, meet mine. You'll need to decide if protecting your inheritance is worth the permanent damage to these relationships. The question lands like a stone in still water. Am I ready to sever ties with my only family? Can I face holiday seasons alone knowing I chose this path? But then I think of Grover. His gnarled hand in mine as I fed him soup when Parkinson's made it impossible for him to hold a spoon. The stories he whispered about building the house board by board with my grandmother. Their legacy isn't just about money, it's about honor. The relationship was already damaged, I say finally. They just didn't tell me. Kerr nods, satisfaction flickering across his face. Your fraud watch request saved you. Most people don't think ahead like that. He closes his briefcase with a click. Trust those instincts. The setting sun casts long shadows across the parking lot as I walk to my car. The driver's seat leather is still warm from the day's heat, offering small comfort as I sit quietly, keys in hand. As I drove home that evening, I wondered if I should expose their fraud to our extended family immediately, or wait for the legal system to handle it. The immediate satisfaction of revealing the truth tempted me, but patience might yield a more complete victory. What would you do when your own family becomes the threat you need protection from? 2 days later, the phone rings at 6 in the morning. I squint at the caller ID. Aunt Pamela. The third relative in 2 days. How could you? Her voice shakes with righteous fury. After all your mother did for you. I press my fingertips against my temple. What exactly did she tell you, Pamela? That you manipulated poor Grover when he couldn't remember his own name. That you swooped in during his final months and convinced him to cut everyone else out. She pauses dramatically. 31 of us, Blythe. 31 family members who loved him just as much as you did. I swallow the acid rising in my throat. My mother has been busy. Did she happen to mention she forged documents to steal the house? My voice remains steady. Or that Thatcher's crypto investments collapsed and he's desperate for cash? Silence stretches between us then. That's not what she do. Ask her about the county fraud investigation. Ask Thatcher why Everlight Properties is auditing his work accounts. The line goes dead. I add Pamela to my growing list of relatives who've called to condemn me without hearing my side. 27 and counting. Later that afternoon, I flip the light switch in the kitchen. Nothing happens. I try the living room. Same result. When I call the power company, the customer service representative sounds confused. According to our records, service was transferred yesterday at the request of the new owner. New owner? My stomach drops. I'm the owner. That's not what our records show, ma'am. A Corinne Rowan requested the change. It takes 3 hours, 2 managers, and copies of my deed to restore power. By nightfall, my water gets shut off too. That night, headlights sweep across my bedroom ceiling. Through the window, I spot Thatcher's Tesla circling the block for the 3rd time. I lie awake until dawn, jumping at every creak and groan of the old house, imagining footsteps on the porch, a key in the lock. The next day, I install security cameras at every entrance. The system sends alerts to my phone whenever someone approaches. I start a log of every interaction with Corinne and Thatcher, recording dates, times, witnesses. When Thatcher parks across the street for 2 hours, I photograph his car and add it to my growing file. In days to come, I stop answering calls from unknown numbers. I change the locks. I sleep with Grover's old baseball bat beside my bed, though I've never swung anything heavier than a tennis racket in my life. The doorbell rings on Thursday morning. I check the security camera feed on my phone before approaching. A woman in a charcoal suit stands on my porch holding a cardboard tray with 2 coffee cups. Not a relative. Not a process server. I open the door a cautious 3 inches. Blythe Rowan? Her smile is professional but warm. I'm Sonia Vargas, estate attorney. We spoke briefly after your grandfather's passing. I remember her firm handshake at the reading of the will. I open the door wider. She offers me one of the coffee cups. I thought you might need this. And this. She pulls a thick envelope from her leather portfolio. It's a cease and desist letter to your mother and brother. The county investigator forwarded me the case details. I accept the coffee, the envelope, feeling something unclench inside my chest for the first time in weeks. Your grandparents would be proud, she says quietly. They raised a fighter. My phone rings that evening as I spread documents across the kitchen table. Evidence packets for every relative, copies of the forged deed, the county fraud notice, timeline of events. I've sorted them into neat stacks secured with binder clips, each addressed and ready to mail. Thatcher's name flashes on my screen. I consider letting it go to voicemail, then answer. Why can't you just share? His voice sounds hoarse, desperate. You're destroying this family. I look at the photographs spread before me. Grover teaching me to fish. My grandmother's hands showing me how to roll pie crust. 5 years of doctor appointments, medication schedules, and late-night vigils. I didn't destroy anything, I tell him. I just stopped pretending it was whole. Mom's a wreck. No one's speaking to me at work. Is that what you wanted? The question hangs between us. For a moment, I feel that familiar twingeth need to smooth things over, make peace, be the reasonable one. It's what I've always done. But something shifts inside me, like tectonic plates realigning. I feel Grover's steady presence beside me, his carpenter's hands that built this house, his unwavering belief in doing what's right regardless of what's easy. What I want, I say clearly, is for you both to stop trying to steal what isn't yours. I hear Sonia's voice the next afternoon, leaving a message while I'm in the shower. Ethics complaint filed against Thatcher with the Oregon Real Estate Board. I've documented his fraudulent use of company letterhead and digital signatures. Call me when you can. When I check my email, there's a notification from Dorian Kerr at the county recorder's office. Formal investigation proceeding. Your property remains secure. While my family unleashes accusations, these professionals, people with no reason to help except professional integrity, stand beside me. Their steady support straightens my spine, lifts my chin. When I call Kerr back to thank him, my voice no longer wavers with uncertainty. I work late into the night, compiling the evidence packets for all 31 relatives. Each contains time-stamped documentation, copies of the forged deed with the county's fraud notice highlighted, and a simple cover letter stating facts without defensiveness or apology. Just before midnight, Sonia texts, "For your information, Everlight Properties has zero tolerance for compliance violations. 3 strikes and you're out. Thatcher already has 2 from previous incidents." I look at my computer screen where an email to the entire family sits ready to send. My evidence packets attached. My finger hovers over the button. One click, and everyone will know exactly what Corinne and Thatcher attempted. One click, and there's no going back. I've made my choice. On Monday next week, I slide the last manila envelope into the FedEx box, my grandfather's old fountain pen clutched in my hand. The pen feels solid against my palm, heavier than those disposable ballpoints Thatcher always used to sign his fake documents. Priority overnight to all 31 relatives. I tell the clerk, pushing the box across the counter. Signature required. The clerk raises an eyebrow but doesn't comment. She probably sees family drama play out across her counter every day. What she doesn't see is the carefully organized evidence inside each envelope. County fraud notices with official seals, color copies of the forged deed with Thatcher's handwriting analysis, and flash drives containing his voice messages. "You've been busy," Sonia says as we walk to the parking lot after I sent everything. My estate attorney carries herself with the quiet confidence of someone who's seen it all but is still occasionally surprised. 31 packets, each one different. I tap the itemized receipt in my hand. Aunt Margaret gets the recording where Thatcher admits using company letterhead. Uncle Paul gets the timestamp data proving Mom was in Nevada when the Oregon notary supposedly witnessed her signature. My phone buzzes 3 hours later. Cousin Deirdre, always the first to call. "Blythe, I had no idea." Her voice quavers. "Mom said you were exploiting Grover, but these documents. I'm so sorry." By evening, 2 more cousins call with similar apologies. I don't gloat. I simply thank them for listening to my side. The following Tuesday, I'm sorting through applications for a security company when my office phone rings. Our receptionist's voice carries unusual tension. "Your brother is here, Blythe. He says he just wants to talk." I glance at the framed restraining order on my desk. "Tell security there's an active no-contact order. Call the police." Through my office window, I watch Thatcher in the lobby, his designer jacket now rumpled, his confident smile replaced with something harder. When the security guard approaches, Thatcher's face contorts. He pounds his fist against the receptionist's desk before officers arrive. "You're destroying everything," he shouts as they escort him out. "We're family." That phrase again, family, as if the word alone grants permission to steal. 3 hours later, my phone lights up with a message from Everlight Properties Compliance Department. They've received screenshots of Thatcher using company letterhead for the forgery. The attachments include security footage of Thatcher accessing the office after hours, sending emails from his supervisor's account. I should feel triumphant. Instead, I feel hollow as I watch the pieces fall exactly where I've placed them. When the district attorney's office calls about pressing felony charges, I hesitate. Would criminal prosecution bring justice, or would keeping this civil allow the family to heal while still protecting my inheritance? The question hangs in the air as I hold the phone, my grandfather's mantel clock ticking steadily in the background. That evening, Sonia arrives with thick folders tucked under her arm, her reading glasses perched on her head. "I submitted the ethics complaint to the Oregon Bar Association this morning," she says, spreading documents across my kitchen table. 27 pages detailing how Thatcher misused company resources, committed forgery, and violated fiduciary duty laws. I pour us both coffee, the scent of dark roast filling the kitchen where I'd spent countless hours feeding Grover pureed foods during his final months. Kerr called, I tell her, sliding a mug across the table. He filed his official report recommending criminal charges, said the evidence is exceptionally compelling. Sonia nods, not celebrating, just acknowledging another step completed. Thatcher's in trouble professionally too. Everlight has a zero-tolerance policy for compliance violations. They suspended him this morning pending investigation. I sink into a kitchen chair, fingers tracing the wood grain my grandfather had lovingly restored decades ago. Is it worth it? All this? Sonia removes her glasses, fixing me with a direct gaze. Your grandfather trusted you with his legacy because you were the only one who truly valued it, not its price tag, its meaning. The next morning brings three developments in rapid succession. First, Corinne's lawyer files withdrawal papers, citing irreconcilable differences with the client regarding case strategy. Translation: he's seen our evidence and wants no part of what's coming. Second, Uncle Roger calls to inform me that Aunt Helen uninvited Corinne from the upcoming dinner. Family's talking, he says awkwardly. People are seeing things differently now. The third comes via email from Everlight's HR department, copied to all employees. Thatcher faces a 72-hour internal audit that will determine his continued employment. The message includes language about upholding the highest standards of professional integrity. I close my laptop and walk to the window overlooking the garden where Grover taught me to plant tomatoes when I was 7. For the first time in weeks, my shoulders relax. The battle isn't over, but for the first time, I'm not fighting alone. Next week, the doorbell rings just as I finish my morning coffee. Through the security camera feed on my phone, I spot Corinne and Thatcher standing on my porch. My mother's usual designer ensemble has been replaced by a conservative black pantsuit that screams, "Serious business." Thatcher hovers behind her, shoulders hunched in a discount department store button-down that hangs loose where his designer shirts once fit perfectly. I take my time answering, letting the Oregon rain soak into their shoulders. When I finally open the door, I don't invite them in. "Whatever you're selling, I'm not interested," I say, one hand still on the doorknob. Corinne forces a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. "Blythe, we need to talk, family to family." "We have a compromise," Thatcher adds, his voice lacking its usual smug confidence. "Something that works for everyone." I cross my arms but stay silent, making them fill the space. "Drop the charges," Corinne says, her voice dropping to a whisper. "In exchange, we'll accept $50,000 and agree to family therapy." Thatcher steps forward. "This legal battle will destroy what's left of this family. Is that what Grover would have wanted?" The mention of my grandfather's name ignites something inside me. I feel my face flush hot with anger. "Don't you dare speak his name," I say, my voice steady. "Not after what you tried to do." "We made a mistake," Corinne interjects, reaching for my arm. I step back. "But family forgives. Family heals." A laugh escapes me, short and bitter. "Is that what this is about? Healing?" I grab an envelope from the side table and hold it up. "You're 3 days too late." Corinne's forced smile falters. "What do you mean?" "I've already moved everything offshore. The house, the accounts, all of it transferred into an irrevocable trust." Their expressions change in tandem confusion, then disbelief, then horror. "You can't do that," Thatcher sputters. I pull out a letter from inside the envelope and unfold it. This arrived yesterday. "Everlight Properties has terminated your employment, citing gross violations of fiduciary duty and fraud. They've been quite cooperative with the county prosecutor." Thatcher's face drains of color as he snatches the letter, scanning it with trembling hands. "This is temporary," Corinne says, her voice rising. "They can't prove anything without." "Without evidence?" I finish for her. "They have your signatures on the forged documents. They have the fake notary seal Thatcher ordered online. They have the emails he sent from his company account planning all of this." I step onto the porch, pulling the door closed behind me. For the first time in my life, I stand taller than my mother seems. "The family was already destroyed," I tell her quietly. "I'm just choosing not to pretend otherwise." 3 days later, I stand on the courthouse steps as the spring sun breaks through the clouds. Thatcher has just been arraigned on Class C felony forgery charges. His lawyer hurries him toward a waiting car, but Corinne lingers, watching me with red-rimmed eyes. I walk directly toward her, my heart hammering in my chest, but my steps steady. The manila envelope in my hands feels heavier than it should. "What more do you want?" she asks, her voice cracking. "Haven't you done enough?" I hold out the envelope. "This is the last thing I have to say to you." She hesitates before taking it, suspicion narrowing her eyes. When she pulls out the contents, her breath catches. Photos of Grover and Mabel, me grandparents on their 50th anniversary, standing proudly in front of the house that would become my inheritance, the same house she tried to steal. A small note rests between the photos. They trusted me to protect their legacy. I did. Corinne's hands shake. With a sudden jerk, she tears the photos in half, then quarters. "You self-righteous little." She stops mid-sentence, her gaze shifting past me. I follow her eyes to see three of our relatives standing across the street: Aunt Patty, Uncle Jim, and Cousin Rachel. They watch in stunned silence as torn pieces of my grandparents' photos flutter from Corinne's hands. Without another word, I turn and walk away, leaving my mother standing alone with the torn fragments of our family's past scattered at her feet. 2 weeks later, the news arrives. Thatcher has accepted a plea deal, probation, hefty fines, and a permanent fraud conviction that will follow him for life. My phone buzzes with a text from Sonia. Corinne next? Civil liability for conspiracy still on the table. I set the phone down without answering. The battle has left me hollow rather than triumphant. That evening, as I settle into Grover's old reading chair with a cup of tea, my phone lights up with a voicemail notification from a number I don't recognize. Blythe? This is your cousin Daniel, your grandfather's sister's grandson. We've never met, but I've been hearing about what happened with Aunt Corinne and Thatcher. I'd like to hear your side of the story, if you're willing to tell it. Some of us think you did the right thing. I stare at the phone long after the message ends, wondering if the price of justice might be worth it after all. 3 months after the victory, I slide open the workshop doors, breathing in the familiar scent of sawdust and tung oil. Grover's tools hang in perfect order against the pegboard wall, each hammer, chisel, and plane exactly where he left them. Sunlight streams through the newly cleaned windows, casting golden rectangles across the workbench where my grandfather taught me to sand with the grain. No longer just visiting, I whisper, running my fingers along the maple workbench. 3 months since the courthouse steps. 3 months since I watched Mother tear up Grover's photos while the extended family witnessed her true nature. Now, instead of explaining why I deserve to be here, I'm planning which heirloom pieces to restore first and how to preserve the workshop for future generations. The east wall needs better insulation before winter, I tell Sonia as she examines the space. And I'm thinking of adding skylights to improve the natural light. She nods, smiling at the confidence in my voice. Grover would approve. No apologies, no justifications about the inheritance, just forward movement. The family reunion buzzes with conversation on the back lawn. Tables draped in checkered cloths hold platters of fried chicken and corn on the cob, Grover's favorite summer meal. Cousins mingle near the lemonade station while aunts arrange desserts by the oak tree. I tap my glass with a spoon. The chatter dies down as 30 pairs of eyes turn toward me. Thank you all for coming. I begin, my voice steady where it once would have trembled. Some of you know that these past months haven't been easy. There were attempts to contest Grover's will through forgery and fraud. No defensive explanations this time, no begging for understanding, just facts presented with quiet dignity. The legal matters have been resolved. This property remains as Grover intended, a place where family can gather and remember what matters. Aunt Phyllis, who once forwarded Mother's accusatory emails, approaches first. You've handled this with grace, she says, squeezing my hand. Grover chose wisely. Uncle Warren follows. The house looks better than it has in decades. Their respect feels different than approval, something earned rather than granted. Later, in the quiet kitchen of the main house, I raise a glass with Dorian and Sonia. The county investigator and estate attorney have become friends through our shared battle. To protecting those who can't protect themselves, Dorian offers. Sonia adds, and to those who find the courage to stand their ground. Our glasses clink in the warm kitchen light. That evening, after everyone is gone, I wind Grover's mantle clock, the weekly ritual he performed every Sunday night for 60 years. The brass key turns with familiar resistance, the mechanism tightening with a comforting series of clicks. I've already spoken with Sonia about establishing a legal aid fund for elder financial abuse victims. 10% of the inheritance will provide representation for seniors facing what Grover might have without me. The clock begins its deep, resonant chime, 9 notes marking both the hour and the generations this house has sheltered. I kept your promise, I whisper to Grover's portrait above the fireplace. His eyes seemed to twinkle with approval in the lamplight, and I found my strength along the way. The house settles around me, creaking and sighing like a living thing. As I sit in my grandfather's chair that night, I wonder if some families can survive the truth while others are destroyed by it. When protecting what's right means losing those you love, what choice would you make? I know mine, and at last, I'm at peace with it.